I won't be friends with you if you ever get an abortion. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I have got a very serious video. This video is purely to educate women and men on situations that is wrong with today's society as a teenage girl. So things that I am going to include in this video is going to be periods, the way that we can and can't dress, sexual assault, rape, and quite a few more. So if any of that triggers you and you don't want to remember anything that has gone wrong in your life, please do not watch this video, because I don't want to get anyone upset. I just want to purely educate and tell people how I feel being a teenage girl in today's society. And if you are wondering, I am wearing eyelashes today, and they are Unicorn Cosmetics, and they are I think they're called Buddy Blue Rainbow. I will put a link down below to them, but this is what they look like. So the first topic that I'm going to speak about is going to be periods. And periods is a topic that most boys don't find acceptable to talk about, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, because it's what everyone has. Every woman has, literally every woman has a period. So let's just talk about it. The first time I come on my period, I was only 9 years old, and that was like not shocking, because like I knew what a period was, and obviously I knew like what like it meant and stuff like that, but it was just confusing because I was only 9 and I didn't expect it at that age anyway. And I was only in year 5, and it was like hard because like in year 5 you'd go swimming like every Tuesdays, and like obviously I couldn't go on like some Tuesdays, and people would be like, well, why can't you go? And it's just like, well, I can't really tell you that I'm on my period because you don't know what a period is really. And I remember the first boy that asked me why I wasn't at swimming, I told him that I was on my period, and he was like, what does that mean? And I was like, I had to explain to a boy what a period was. But like I said, I was only like 9, or I would think I was 10 at the time when I told them. But it's crazy how like boys don't know what they actually mean, or how much they hurt, or this, that and the other, because I saw some on Twitter the other day that Holly Hagen, if you don't know, she's from Geordie Shore, she tweeted something to this man, saying that this man basically said that you shouldn't be able to have days off for periods because it's not a reasonable excuse to have a day off. And then she was like, yeah, but it hurts. She's like, all women have different periods, and sometimes women can't even walk, which is true, because last month when I was on my period, I couldn't like barely walk either. And it's just annoying that boys don't understand how much it actually can affect your life just having a period for 3 to 7 days. And also how men think that every time we're in a mood we have to be on our period, and it's just like, no, we're in a mood because something's annoyed me or you've annoyed me. It's not purely because I'm on my period, it's just because I am annoyed. Because I remember in high school, I don't know what year it was, I think it might have been like year 9 maybe, and this boy ended up turning around to my friend and was like, oh, can tell you're on your period. And it's just like, and I turned around and I was like, no, she came off last week, she's annoyed because you pissed her off. Like, by the way, I don't know what this is up here, but there's a massive lump on my head. I don't know if you can see it, it's like round here, and it really hurts, so like just ignore that if you did like notice it, because look, can you see it's like round here. Yeah, so another thing that really annoys me is how we have to pay for like pads or tampons or anything that helps us get rid of the pain of a period, or to help us be hygienic when we are on our periods. Because if you think about it, a normal period usually lasts between 3 to 7 days, and personally I last between like 5 and 6. And if you get a big pack of pads which have 18 pads in, it's £5 for 2 packets of 18, so that's 36, and you usually have 5 pads a day, so that 2 packets of pads will only last you 5 days, and there's people that go on for more. So every month you're spending £5, and I've been on my period since I was 9, and I probably won't come off until early 50s. So if you do that maths, I'm spending loads of money just on pads. So if you do the calculations, if you do 5 times 12, which is obviously £5 every month for a year, it's £60, and I've been on it since I was 9, and I'll probably stop when I'm about 50, which is, you have to times that by like 49 for like 49 years. So 60 times 49 equals £2,940 I will spend on pads for my whole entire life. That's a freaking lot. Or am I just going crazy? But not to say that like people don't have periods twice a month, because sometimes that can happen if you're stressed, or if a lot of things can happen to make a period come on earlier than it should. So like you could be spending £10 a month for like a couple of months. Like that's a lot of money. It might not sound like a lot of money if you like earn a lot of money, but for a 9-year-old girl, having to get my mum to buy me that kind of stuff is, it's not right, when we should have to, like, we should get it for free, and I just don't understand. I really don't know if there's anything else to mention about periods, but if there is, and if there's something that I'm not actually mentioned, please make sure you do comment it down below so I can talk to you about it in the comments, whether you are a boy or a girl, and if you want to find something out or anything like that, please make sure to ask the questions down below. The next one that I do want to get onto is quite a triggering topic. Like I said at the start, please make sure that you click off the video or skip to a different part if you do have mental health issues, and it does trigger you when people talk about it. So like I said, the next one is about mental health, and in today's society a lot of people do make up their mental health issues or self-diagnose themselves, which I think is pretty selfish, especially when someone who like hasn't even come out and said that they're depressed or they have really bad anxiety, because it just makes it look like now everyone has it, so it's kind of like normal, but it's not. You should definitely get help for your mental health, whichever like category you're in, like social anxiety, normal anxiety, um depression, like just anything like that. Just please make sure to go and like get help, or tell someone, tell a friend, tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your sister, tell your brother. Just tell anyone to make it be more relaxed in yourself and feel like weights have been lifted off your shoulders. Because I struggled with my mental health when I was about 12, and like I still do now, but I didn't tell anyone. I told my friends, but like I just couldn't tell anyone, because like people would be like, well, why do you have that? And it's just like, I don't know why I have it. It's just like I have it. And then I told my mum one night, and I burst out crying when I told her. Like I was literally so upset, like, because I didn't want to feel like I was weak. And she told me like we'd go to the doctors and stuff, so we went to the doctors, and the doctors was like, sorry, we can't do anything, you'll have to ask her school. So we went to school, and school said that you couldn't really do anything. But then they ended up giving me a counsellor, and I hated it. All she did was talk about herself. Like, was she counselling me or was I counselling her? Like, you'll never know. So I struggled with it for like quite a long time before I even told anyone. And then I had this counselling, which was absolutely rubbish. And then I kind of just stopped, because like everyone like kind of just forgot about it. So I was like, well, I'll just keep it to myself from now on, and I just won't tell anyone. And then when I was 16, my mental health was so bad, literally, like it was awful. It's when like Haley was ill, but I had a lot of other stuff going on that year as well. I had trouble with my friends and with like this boy, which I'll get into like later on in the video. And I, I just didn't want to be here anymore, and it was like really bad, but I didn't tell anyone because obviously Kay was ill and I didn't want to like take, you know, like that away from, like, obviously she needed more help than what I did. So I kind of just like stayed in the room the whole time. Like, I was in this room because this is my mum and dad's room, but they was obviously with Kay, so I stayed in this room the whole time. I didn't have no friends because like I fell out with like all of them, and I only had like one friend and then this boy, and that boy treated me like so horribly, but like so nice at the same time, and it was like so confusing. Like, that's what like made my head go crazy. And then I was just like going through a lot and it was awful, and I didn't tell anyone. And then one day I just decided to try to kill myself. A disclaimer, I did end up like making friends with the people that I did fall out with when Kay was ill. I'm not saying that I didn't have any friends, but at the time like this was happening, I fell out with all of my friends, but I did have quite a lot of people there for me when Kaylee was ill, so I'm not saying that, and I'm so grateful for everyone that was there for me. And I've never ever spoken about this before, on, not even to my parents. Like, obviously they know, but since it happened they've never ever spoke about it to me ever. And it was like, I just remember it like it was yesterday, and it's horrible because like at that time I did literally want to die, like genuinely. And it's just like now, yes, sometimes like I get stressed and I get depressed again, and it's just like, well, you know, but then I have things to look forward to. Like, then like people were treating me so horribly, and like I just didn't want to be here anymore, and like no one was talking to me about it. Like no one at all was like telling me like everything's like gonna be okay and stuff like that. It's just like I had no one to talk to, and I think that's the whole like thing on your shoulders again. It's just like you don't have no one to talk to, so it's all on you. It's like you talk to yourself, you tell yourself how sad you are, and it's just like you need to tell someone. I wish I told someone then, but like obviously I can't change it because it's already happened. Like, that happened 3 years ago this year, and it's just like it's hard to still think about it. But to where I am now, I I told myself that I'd be somewhere different, but you know, things change and things happen, and it's just like you kind of have to go with the flow and try your best whenever. After I came out of the hospital, I went straight to school because I was in hospital for 2 days, and then I kind of didn't want to be at home because everyone was like annoyed at me because like they thought I was selfish, and they kept on telling me that I was selfish, so I didn't really want to be home. So I went straight to school, and all the teachers knew, so they kind of like treated me different, and I kind of hated that, to be quite honest. But and then I ended up getting really poorly, and I ended up having to go to the doctors again, and she just told me, she's like, because I had really bad pains in my side and in my back, and they thought my organs were shutting down on me, but they weren't. The lady was like, oh, it's just your anxiety. And I was like, but how can it give you pains? I was like, I don't understand. She's like, it just does. And I was like, oh, but I've been getting a lot of pains that before like that situation even happened. I've been getting pains for like years, and then I came to figure out that it was all the pain was anxiety pain, and I never knew that. I never knew you could get pain because of your anxiety. So if you're ever like anxious and you're getting pains and stuff, just know that it could be your anxiety, and to go and see a doctor to try and like help that process not happen. I just want to have a disclaimer saying that I'm not just saying teenage girls have like mental health. Boys can have mental health, but personally it's just coming from a teenage girl's point of view. So I don't know what it is like to be a teenage boy because I'm a girl. So please don't think I'm trying to say that only girls get mental health problems, because I know for a fact boys do, and it's very, very serious, and we do need to talk about it. But this video is purely coming from a teenage girl's point of view. By the way, I did end up getting counselling at Cancer Care when Kaylee finished chemo, and I absolutely loved my counsellor. She was honestly so amazing, but you only get a certain amount of time with them, and I was obviously sad to leave. And then when Manchester bombing happened, I ended up going back because she said that she wanted me back because she didn't want that to obviously trigger me back into my depression. So I did going back, but I only stayed for a certain amount of time again, because obviously you can only stay for a certain amount of time. But it did really, really help going to counselling. Like, I wish I was still there now, but obviously I'm not. But you just need to find the right person to go to, and then you'll love something like counselling. Because I hated it, obviously, at school, like I said, because she just kept on talking about herself. But when I found someone that I liked, I could be there all the time, because it's like you actually know them and you connect to them, and I just loved it. So the next one I'm actually going to go into is clothing, and it's clothes we can and cannot wear as a teenage girl. So like I just said, it's clothes. This is the next topic, and what I think is so bad is how people judge girls for what they wear, but don't really judge boys. Like I said, I don't know if they do judge boys because I'm not a boy and I don't get judged. So personally, I think a lot of girls get judged on how they dress, whether it's short skirts, like crop tops, this, that, the other. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think we should just let everyone wear what they want, when they want, to go and see whoever they want. Like the other day, I was at the train station with my mum, and she said, "Oh, I don't get why loads of people are dressing like it's summer when there's one tiny little bit of heat." And she was like, "Because I saw this girl the other day and she was wearing proper short shorts and a crop top." And then I looked over at on the other side of the platform. I was like, "Yeah, but you're not saying anything about that boy wearing shorts, though, are you?" And she was like, "Well," she was like, "Well," and I was like, she was like, "Well, that's what made me think of it." And I was like, "Right then, okay." But a lot of girls do get judged on what they wear, like on nights out, because it's just like, then boys think that they want it, and it's just like, no, the girl is dressing how she wants because that's what she feels comfortable in and that's what she looks nice in. It's not for you, it's for her. Plus, this also happens in schools, and it's like girls can't wear jewellery, girls can't wear makeup, girls can't wear frilly socks, girls can't wear short skirts, girls can't wear certain types of skirts. And it's just like, well, why are boys allowed to wear whatever they want then? And I know they only wear pants, but they're allowed to wear skinny pants, they're allowed to wear like normal trousers, but we aren't allowed to wear skinny pants. I just don't get it. Because at my school, anyway, we weren't allowed to wear makeup, even though like a lot of people did wear makeup. Like I wore makeup every day until probably about year 10, year 9, and then I stopped wearing it altogether because I feel like it was making my skin horrible and I just couldn't be bothered. I'd rather just have sleep. But I never got told to take my makeup off because I don't think mine was that like out there more than other people's. And I know of them saying that they can wear whatever they want, but sometimes like it was just like the shade of the foundation that was like kind of bad. But you know, let everyone do whatever they want. But the thing that people cared, well, the teachers cared about the most, was frilly socks. Like we weren't allowed to wear frilly socks. Like why? They're just socks. And it's like, well, because it will distract your education. And it's just like, what do you mean it will distract our education? No, it won't. The socks, that's it, just socks. a lot of people would get told off about the jewellery and would get the jewellery taken off them. Like, I wore one on this finger, which was quite big, and then I wore two on this finger, and I wore that for like year 10 and year 11, like the whole 2 years. And I never once got told to take them off. I never got, because I used to turn them round to make them look like just normal rings like that. Except from like being like a stone there, I used to turn it round when they used to walk in, and I used to just kind of have it like that. So I feel like that's why they'd never, or I used to just take it off. That's why I never really got caught. But oh well, you gotta do what you gotta do. But another thing is the skirts, and how I know we shouldn't really wear short skirts, but like a skirt's a skirt, and it's just like, if we can't see your ass, then why does it matter? And another thing that really, really annoyed me when I was in school, which actually happened to me, is it was a mufti day. And if you don't know what a mufti day is, it's a day where you go into school and you wear whatever you want, like whatever clothes you want, if you pay like £1 or something. And that day was a mufti day, and I decided to wear makeup for like the first time in like a year. I'm not even joking. And I put red lipstick on, because red lipstick is my favourite lipsticks, if you may or may not know. And I put red lipstick on, and I walked into Pastoral, which was kind of like our health place, or just where you go and speak to someone if something's happened. And my head of year was like, Ella, I was like, yeah. She's like, can you take that red lipstick off? It's arousing the boys. And I was freaking gobsmacked. And my friend's boyfriend at the time was in there with me. Not with me, but he was in there. And he just laughed. Like, he just actually laughed. And we've joked about it ever since, about it arousing him. I know obviously it was my friend's boyfriend, but like, we were just joking. Like, it was so stupid. Plus, what does it mean it arouses the boys? It's red lipstick. What if I was wearing nude lipstick, black lipstick, pink lipstick? I was wearing red lipstick. How does red lipstick arouse boys? And bearing in mind that I was only 15 or 16, and obviously I know what arousing boys meant, but why say that to a child? Like, why tell a child that they're arousing boys with lipstick? How is that acceptable? I just don't think it is. No way. And talking about makeup, a lot of people say how much or little we should wear. Like, if we wear loads, they want us to wear little. Like, if we're wearing little, they want us to wear more. And it's just like, just let us wear what we want. I hope that like got the concept of what I was trying to put across, about how it's only like comes across bad as being a girl wearing makeup. And I know boys can wear makeup, because I love boys wearing makeup, like James, Jeffrey, like any other boy that wears makeup. You can wear makeup. But when I was in high school, not even 1% of boys were wearing makeup. But that's personally in my school, and I'm not saying it's like it's the same in other schools, because I'll say boys might wear makeup in your school or what you like, college or anything like that, or university, whichever. But in my school, not even 1% of boys were wearing makeup. So I'm just saying that is my perspective. But I really hope that come across as how I feel being a teenage girl and wearing makeup, or had wearing makeup in school or outside of school. The next one I am going to talk about is also another trigger. So if you don't want to be triggered or become upset with this topic, please make sure you click off now. And the topic is pregnancy and abortions. When I was younger, when I was probably about 13 or 14, I was so against abortions, it was unreal. Like, I even told people, like, I won't be friends with you if you ever get an abortion. Like, what? But that's how I felt back then, because obviously I was only a child, and like, I didn't know anything really about why you'd get an abortion, how you'd get an abortion, or anything like that. But and then I ended up taking RE as my GCSE, and obviously we'd learnt that how it's acceptable in obviously other religions, and why you get them, and how this happens and this happens. And the older I've got, the realised how I've realised how I should not ever have an input in someone else's body, ever. You get an abortion if you need one, or if you want one. It's not my choice to tell you what to do. It's not blooming Jeffrey's choice down the road because he can't even have a baby. You have to do what you have to do to make yourself happy, or to better the life of that child or you. And I don't think it's fair how men can be like, oh yeah, but you're killing a baby, you're doing this, you're doing that, and it's just like, that's not your body. You can't even have a baby, you can't even have a period, you can't even go through the pain of having a baby. So don't you ever tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. And that's what I've learned the older I've got, and I'm now 19 next month, and I would never ever ever judge a person ever about having an abortion. It's not my right to say anything. The reason why I wrote pregnancy is a lot of people judge women for becoming pregnant at a young age, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I know mums who've been pregnant at 15, 16 and are amazing mums, but they just have a lot of problems because they're still a child. Like, there's still drama, but there's drama being an adult and having a baby. I think it's just ridiculous. Like, age doesn't matter whether you are a good mum or not, or a good dad or not. You bring that child into this world, you love that child, you feed that child, you give that child the thing that they need and the thing that they want, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 52 or 15. Like, it doesn't matter. Just it's not your choice again. Like, it's men mostly. I had an argument with a boy the other day about being pregnant young, and it's just like, you can't have a baby, you can't give birth to a baby, you can't feed that baby. Like, well, you can feed the baby, but I mean, like, breastfeed. So don't you dare have an input in someone else's life, because that baby might have the best life ever, but have a 15-year-old mum. It really does not matter at all how old you are to be a good mum. The other thing is how people say, well, mostly men again, like, I'm sorry that I'm kind of like disgrading like men in this, but you know, I just want to get the point of how I'd feel if I was pregnant and boys were telling me the same thing that I've read boys say about women who have been pregnant, or what women have said about women who are pregnant as well. Like, I'm not saying it's just men that are being annoying or bitches, it's both. They're Ace Family. I have watched them for quite a long time, and Catherine had a layer 4 months ago, and she put something on Twitter the other day where people were calling her fat, but she just had a baby 4 months ago. What do you expect her to look like? Like, she's not even fat though, that's the thing. She is on the recovery to be back to her body again. Like, leave her the freaking heck alone. Plus, Catherine has 2 daughters. Like, she's had 2 babies. Like, 2 babies have been in her belly growing. Do you not expect her skin to grow? Well, not grow, but stretch. Or do you not expect her to have stretch marks? Do you not expect her to have a mum belly, like baby fat? Like, what do you expect her to have and haven't? Like, I don't understand. Like, leave her alone. She's trying to make her better self, like, make herself better. She's trying to make herself better by working out, eating healthy. Just, like, leave them alone. And it's not just Catherine, it's any woman in the world. Just, like, they've had a child inside of them. Leave them alone. That's all I really want to say about abortion and pregnancy, because I don't obviously want to get too far into it, because I don't want to like trigger anyone or upset anyone about anything, and I feel like that should be personal with women, because boys can comment on this and say this, that and the other, but it doesn't really matter, because no one cares, because you are a man and you can't have a child. So the last one that I do want to talk about is another triggering subject, and it is rape and sexual assault, or just being physically assaulted in general. I'm actually going to start off with physical assault, as I have been physically assaulted myself by this boy who I was on about earlier in the video. So I was 16, and it's when I said obviously everything was happening with Kaylee and that my mental health was down and stuff. He was really, really drunk on, like, I think it was the day after prom, and I was with his brother, because his brother was going out with my sister, I think at the time, but I'm not very sure. And I was just with his brother, and we were just like kind of like hanging out, and just like we were like really, really close, and we just like hung out quite a lot when Kay was in hospital. And he ended up seeing us when he was out drunk at this like place where he used to live. And he was like, oh, why don't you come down for a bit? And I was like, no, I don't really want to. And he's like, oh, just like come down. Like he was like, you know everyone there anyway. I was like, fine then, I'll come down for a bit. But I was like, I'm not staying for long. And then he ended up getting really, really drunk, and I didn't want him to drink anymore because he was already like really, really drunk. Like, when I say really drunk, really, really drunk. So I didn't want him to drink anymore, so like, I kind of just like took his like drink off him, and just kind of like held it away from him for a bit, and he bit me and he punched me, and I didn't want anyone to know, so I kind of just sat there to myself for like a bit. And then it started like, my arm started like really, really hurting, because obviously he bit me, but I was wearing a jumper, so like he bit me like through the jumper, and it was like hurting. So like, I kind of like had a look, and it was like really, really bruised and already, and you could see like the teeth marks in it. So I went to my friend, let's call her, I can't think of her name, Daisy Duck. I went to my friend Daisy Duck and I was like, the boy just bit me, and I showed her, and she was like, what? She was like, Ella. She was like so confused, and I kind of just like burst out crying to her when I was telling her, and I kind of just like walked off. And then this other boy, let's call him, James. He was like, Ella, what's wrong? And I was like, this boy, like that boy just like bit me. And I showed him, and I started crying, and he was like hugging me, and I was like absolutely like, I was mortified. And then this other boy, let's call him Ball. I'm looking at stuff around the room, and Ball was like to this boy, will you please say sorry to Ella for biting her? And he was like so confused, he doesn't remember doing it or anything like that. And I was like, I kind of just wanted to go home at this rate. So I rang his brother, and I told his brother what happened, and his brother ended up telling my sister, and my sister ended up telling my nana, and my nana told my mum. And I got home, and I didn't want to tell anyone. And my mum, I heard my mum running downstairs. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, please. I was like, I cannot be bothered right now. And she was like, what's he done to you? I was like, what do you mean? He was like, what's he done to you? I was like, nothing. And he was like, she was like, yeah, he's done something to you. I was like proper trying to like blag her head, saying that he hasn't. And I was like, he hit me and he bit me. And she was like, let me see. So I showed her, and we went to his house, and my mum and dad's like kicking off, and I kind of just was like really, really like, I wasn't in the right state of mind to even argue with anyone, to even talk to anyone. So I kind of just like went home and cried. Like, I just did. We were texting basically that whole night, because obviously I wanted to like see if he remembered, and he said that he didn't remember. But, and then he said sorry, and I was like, yeah, it's alright. And then we kind of like didn't really speak after that day. Well, we did speak, but not that much anyway. And basically we ended up calling the police. Well, my mum called the police. I didn't want to tell the police, but I didn't want to tell the police anything because I didn't want to wreck his life for one stupid mistake. It's just like, I'm not that type of person. Why would I want to tell the police? Like, it's just like, it was just pointless and I didn't see the point. But even to this day, I wouldn't tell the police like what fully happened, because it's just like, what's the point? I don't see the point, because like it's one stupid mistake that he can't even remember. So it's me against someone that can't remember doing it. And it's just like, I don't want to wreck his life just for one stupid thing. But then people would be like, well, just because he was drunk doesn't mean it's an excuse, which is very, very true. That's not a good enough excuse to do that. But if that does happen or has happened in your life, please make sure that you do tell someone, because if I never told anyone, I'd be losing my mind right now if I never told anyone ever. Plus, that's a really, really hard story to tell on the internet, because a lot of people around my area watch my videos, and they're all gonna be kind of like, they all know who it's really about. And I don't want to name names or anything like that, because like I said, I don't want to ruin his life over a stupid video. But you know, it nearly happened 3 years ago, and it's just like, why should I have to care about one stupid mistake that a boy made when he was 16? Please make sure to tell someone if something like that does actually happen, because I don't want to be the reason why someone doesn't tell like their problems to someone. The next topic was rape and assault, but I actually don't want to get into that anymore, because I feel like that will be too triggering to some people, so I don't actually want to get into that. But if you would like to talk to me about your problems, and I would never ever tell anyone, because it's not my place to ever tell anyone, my Instagram is ellalouise_ox. I do leave it down in the description, and you don't have to follow me, you don't have to do anything like that. If you do just purely want to talk to me, make sure that you like send me a DM. Like I said, you don't have to follow me for that, because my account is public. So please make sure that to talk to someone, whether it's me or anyone else, please make sure that you do tell someone. So I really, really hope that video did come across as like being how it feels being a teenage girl, and how it does affect your mental health with any aspect of what I've talked about, because it is really, really, really important that we talk about everything that I've just talked about. Whether some things might be major and some things might be minor, but everything still needs talking about. I really hope you did learn something from this video today, and if you didn't, and if you knew all of this, then you are a very clever and reasonable and important person to this world. But I really did hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did actually learn anything new, please make sure that you do comment down below what you learnt today and what you do with what you learnt in the future. Like I said, I really hope you enjoyed. Bye everyone, until next time.